I would like to introduce the research project. The workshop convened in its framework. And then I will say a few words about the project, and then I will ask the lecturers to present themselves and say a few words about themselves instead of me introducing them. Okay, so the project funded by the Israeli Science Foundation is a 4-year research project, and it's a cooperative research of Julie, Asher, and myself. And I will speak on behalf of the three of us and tell you a little bit about what we've been doing, and I'll start with my interest in the cosmic movement, which started in the framework of my interest in Kabbalah, Jews, and Western esotericism. And I'm especially interested in Jews who were active in Western esoteric circles and to their contribution to modern forms of Kabbalah. That's at least what I started with when I got into this area. Another project I'm engaged with, which was also founded by the ISF, the Israeli Science Foundation, and also I cooperated with Julie, was about the Jewish Theosophist and Kabbalah. Now, I'm not sure when I first heard of Theon and the cosmic movement. I use the mouse. Okay. So I'm not sure exactly when I first heard. I became more curious and aware of Theon and the cosmic movement during my teaching and research of the Jewish esoteric circles, I think about 10 years ago. Now then I read some publications of the movement and about the movement. By the way, you have some of the publications published by Argaman that Aryeh kindly brought here. If you're not familiar with them, I'm sure most of you are familiar. And some, so I read first, I found the booklets and the books published by Argaman, and then some of the scholarly research related to the movement. First I read Jocelyn Godwin, Christian Chanel, and Pat Devaney's work on the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. And later, Christian Chanel's PhD thesis, and excuse my French, de la fraternité hermétique de Luxor au mouvement cosmique, l'oeuvre de Max Theon. These works are invaluable resources for any scholar working on the HB of L and the cosmic movement and related movements. And I'm delighted that both Christian Chanel and Pat Devaney accepted our invitation and are with us today. And I would like to thank them for their wonderful scholarship. In 2011, I was traveling in South India, trying to collect material on the Jewish Theosophists who were active in India. I visited the headquarters of the Theosophical Society in Adyar and visited the archives of Ramana Ashram in Tiruvannamalai. As I was in the area, I also visited Pondicherry and went to visit the archives of Sri Aurobindo. I hope to learn more about the mother and her connection with Theon. I met there with Bob Zwicker, who introduced me immediately to, grabbed me by the hand and took me and said, "You must meet Peter Heath." And we had a very nice and interesting conversation. And later I have worked his work, which became also a very important resource for our research. And I'm delighted that he also could join us in the workshop. When I got back home, I thought I could do some inquiries about Theon and the cosmic philosophy, not only in India, but also in home in Israel. And I searched and I made some contacts with some of the followers of the cosmic philosophy in Israel. And first I met and visited Aryeh Rothenberg, and later Eva Raziel, and then the family members of the Temanlis family. The son of Pascal Temanlis, Yoel and Ilan, and his grandson, Tal Gilad. And I'm very happy that Aryeh and also Ella and Eva could participate in the workshop and regrettably, Yoel and Tal are out of the country and could not participate. All of them were were extremely kind and helpful and provided me with invaluable information about the movement and gave me access to materials and documents that they had in their possession. And it became clear to me that I stumbled upon a rich and promising field of research. So I proposed a research project and received some funding from the Israeli Science Foundation. I was very lucky that Julie Chayes and Asher Benjamin agreed to join me in this research. The first stages of the research was gathering and sorting materials and information. Eva Raziel gave us access to a collection of printed materials, photocopies of manuscripts and original documents, which we scanned and sorted. And this is an opportunity to thank her. We could not have done our research without her help, without your help. Thank you. The Thamalis family also provided us with valuable manuscripts and documents, and I would like to thank Yoel, Ilan, and Tal Gilad. We've also collected printed materials from different libraries and archives. And I would like to mention one of them, very important, online resource, YAPSOP, the International Association for the Preservation of Spiritualist and Occult Periodicals, and actually also SSOC, the Standard Spiritualist and Occult Corpus. And this is an opportunity to thank Pat Devaney and Mark Demarest and John Busher for this wonderful resource and for their assistance in this as well as other research projects. So thank you, Pat. During our research, we have made contact with several colleagues who were interested in the cosmic movement and related groups, who shared with us materials, information, and insights. Most of them participate in this workshop. Pat Devaney, which I already mentioned, and Christine Ferguson, and Orit Cohen, and Jean-Pierre Brach, and Gal Sofer, and Gur Livne, and Daniel Rave, and Michelle Olsi, and Helena Karkova, and Toshi Akai, and Beer-Sheva Goldman Ida, and Shimon Lev, and Jonathan Meir, and Alexander Tumarkin, and of course, Christian Chanel. Some other scholars whom we cooperated with but could not join us are Shinichi Yoshinaga and Bridge Tanka, Anusia Kumar, Hans Martin Kremer, and Yorimitsu Hoshimoto. Following the collection of data, we have started to study and research them. 2 studies have already been published, one on Mary Ware and one on the Ideal and Reality group, Ideal and Reality. As we got familiar with the material, we decided to concentrate on preparing for publication some of the most important unpublished sources we received access to, and we have started working on these projects. The first, Teresa's diary. That's for you, for those who are not familiar with YAPSOP. So you should. Okay, so the first project is the publication of Teresa's diary. And you probably know about the diary, and I think some of you may have read the manuscripts. Teresa, her real name Augusta Rolf, was an inmate of a nunnery headed by Mary Ware, later Teona, who accompanied her in her years in London, first in the nunnery, then her years in London, and after her marriage to Theon, became their secretary and traveled with them in France and lived with them in Tlemcen. The diary is a fascinating document spanning 48 years. The first entry is from May 1876, right? And the last one from November 1924. 3 years before the death of Theon. This is a very important resource for the study of the cosmic movement. Here, by the way, this is the page where both the marriage of Una is mentioned.
March 21st, Una
Was married.
Okay, yeah, Una was married, and also on the same page we have the first mention of Teon and Teona later. Asher.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, here went with Teon and Teona.
Una was
and
married.
Sibyl. Oh, so as I said, we plan to publish it with comments and a detailed introduction, and I won't say any more about it because you'll hear more about it from Julie Hayes very soon in the next session. Another project we are working on is the publication of a manuscript written by Louise Rubin.
Dubon.
As I said, excuse my French, and you'll have to excuse me for that's my terrible pronunciation in French. Again, possibly some of you heard about her, but she's a lesser-known member of the cosmic, one of the later members of the cosmic movement. She visited Teon a few times in Tlemcen in the early 1920s. And the text which we plan to publish with an English translation and comments is very interesting and gives a different perspective on the cosmic movement. Again, I will not tell you any more about it, as you will hear about the text from Asher Benjamin. The third major project we are working on, and actually I think most of our work was dedicated to that project, is the publication of letters of Teon, original letters of Teon. This is one of the most, if not the most important resource we found. About 60 original letters of Teon, most of them to Louis Eclair Temanlis, but also to some to other members of the extended family, some to Eugène Blot, and one about which we will probably hear from Michele Olsi, to Mark Semenoff. The first letter is from 1905, soon after Teon met Louis Temanlis for the first time, and the last one is from 1918. And this is the envelope of one. No, actually, that's a postal card. One of the letters sent from Florence. The letters are a highly important resource, both for the study of Max Teon and the cosmic movement, and they shed fascinating light both on the teaching. And I think as interesting, if not more interesting, because we know less about it on the practices of Teon, which he relates in the letters, and the activities and practices of the cosmic movement and some related groups in the first 2 decades of the 20th century. And there's also a lot of more about the administrative side of the movement, which is also, to me, I think other scholars, very, very interesting. It also sheds light on the relationship between the leaders of the members of the movement, of course, especially between Teon and his chief disciple, Louis Temanlis, but also there's a lot of talk about the other members, some with reservations, some with less reservations in the letters. It also, I think, for me, the most interesting point, it sheds light on the personality of Teon, because we hear much more the personal note of Teon, and sometimes really although we have the picture, we can really picture him, especially when he gets more to the personal details, always remembering to inquire about little Pascal and other little points of his concern to the family, and also his worries, a bit of his depression. I think he was quite depressed some of those years after the death of Teona. So all this gives us another light on the personality of Teon. We have translated already these letters into English. It was a combined effort, Asher and Julie, and me hovering around. And we are working to publish them, and again, we'll have lots of comments, and we plan to write a lengthy introduction, which in a way I think will be introduction to also to other aspects of the cosmic movement. Probably in time we'll study other aspects of the cosmic movement, and we hope that other scholars will also contribute and continue to contribute to the study of the cosmic movement, its context, offshoots, and impact. Now, in the framework of this research project, we applied last year for funds for an international workshop, and we were very happy that this enabled us to invite many excellent scholars that have contributed already and will contribute now more to the study of the cosmic movement. And we are very happy to welcome you, and we look forward very much for your lectures. Instead of presenting the participants, I suggest that each one of you will, of the lecturers will present himself, say a few words about his research and maybe the connection to the cosmic movement. Maybe we will start with my colleagues who I spoke in their name but didn't have their own voice yet, Julie and Asher, and it's a